of Robert M. Kellogg. Before, we're on page 22, and this is over at page 30, and I'm going to show you the hours and dollars that the lying of this model lawyer, oh, he's a model lawyer because he lies. I'm going to show you the hours and dollars that Kellogg's lying cost. Just myself, and think of all the others. Upsilon. Glendora reminds you again that public access is the last garrison of free speech. You print only what the international bankers want you to print. Who are the international bankers? They're the people that I sued. Or I sued 10 of them. Rothschild, Lazar Frere, Warburg Pincus, David Rockefeller, Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, the Federal Reserve System, Alan Greenspan, the World Bank, the Trilateral Commission, and the Council on Foreign Relations. You print only what they let you print. And you read only, folks, or hear what they want you to hear. I would boycott them if I were you. I don't listen to the television news. I do not read newspapers. I would much rather spend my time reading good, doing good, working with you. I won't give them a moment of my time. And time for Kellogg is gone. Robert M. Kellogg leaves a memorial of this. He kidnapped the truth. He abducted the truth. In one hand and justice in the other. In a monumental legal paper, Glendora wrote, Memorial Day this year. She asked, quote, what memorial would Kellogg leave? How prophetic it turned out to be. From May the 5th month to November the 11th, a half a year. Following the question was a prayer that he find his oneness with God. That's what I wanted, was his happiness. Well, did he? The legacy you got paid to force on the people, Bruce Golding, Gannett, is all conclusory. No facts, no law. It testifies to no power to perform. Physical, spiritual, intellectual, moral, legal. No power to perform. It's gone. You've lost it. Yours is abhorrently and, quote, inside job, unquote. That's what this obituary is in a public newspaper. It is a nadir of newspapering and in broad daylight, getting broader in 1 week, the winter solstice. In addition to wait a second, folks, something about 40 or so lawsuits against the law-breaking public access laws Okay, let me patch it up here. In addition to dying, owing Glendora $110, well actually it was only $100 because Bryant made him pay the $10, plus 9% statutory interest since 1995, Callagy died owing Glendora the 9% statutory interest, 1995, on $350 that Glendora sent to Charles F. Dolan, the chairman of Cablevision, and to James L. Dolan, his son, the chief executive officer, and to 3 other of his hoods to appear as witnesses to be examined in the United States federal court Callagy did not pay Glendora the interest on that $350 for 8 years. That's complicated. The sentence is too long. Do you like judges who have sentences who are too long? Let me go back over it. Okay. He requested the discovery of the audio tape where Cablevision violated forbidden cable operator editorial control over public access. Now, when I sued Cablevision for taking a child with Glendora off of TV in Nassau County in 1993, the litigation went on and on and on, and it was Callagy who made it go on and who obstructed justice. Finally, we got to the trial, and Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, Rule 54, says that if you summon somebody to come to trial as a witness, you have to pay him $70 a day, I think it was, or $40 a day, and then you have to pay him travel. So the travel would be for Charles Dolan to come from Nassau County to Westchester County and all of his hired hoods to come with him. And so that amounted to $350. And so Franklin paid that $350 to Cablevision. When Brian, as crookedly as anybody could, fixed things and canceled the justice of the trial, instead of returning that money, Charles Dolan people put the money in the bank. This is Cablevision for you. They're too cheap to pay the $5,020 they lost in the White Plains court, and they're too cheap to send back the $350 that the federal court made Franklin pay them to come to be witnesses. They kept the money, they put it in the bank. Well, finally, after saying 100 times that this had happened, Bryant made him return the money. And it was a check from Callagy that paid the $350, but what about the 9% statutory interest in the state of New York for all those years? And Callagy died with this on his chest. In one word, from 1993 to 2006, from $350 to the $5,020, Callagy was cheap. And he's a Park Avenue lawyer. And he's a great First Amendment defender. And he's the model lawyer. Well, he certainly is. Insert. Peter Lane had to tell Callagy what law to use to fix the Rye City Court case against Charles Dolan and Cablevision Systems Corporation. That law was Title 47, United States Code, Section 538. It did not even apply. But Lane got in touch with Callagy and told Callagy to submit that law as an argument to dismiss Glendora's lawsuit in the Rye City Court. It was a hoax that exuded unresisted self-surrender to vice by both Callagy and Peter Lane City Court, City of Rye. Presently, both are paying painfully for the same. Callagy's machinations sucked his life into small claims. He was in small claims Rye, I took him to small claims Harrison, I took him to small claims Phillipstown, I took him to small claims White Plains, I took him to small claims Yonkers. This is where he concluded his life. This is where he concluded his life, defending not corporate giants, but minuscules like Deborah Eacock, Cecilia Masterilli, Christine Savarino. So we have said, a Brobdingnagian in Lilliputian, he made such a fool of himself. Here lies Robert Callagy. He lies about the law, he lied about the facts. He thought it was cute to call Glendora, quote, a professional pro se, unquote. Well, I called him an unprofessional lawyer. You obit hacks turned your backs on everything in journalism 101. Utter laxity and abandonment of restraint. But you have been caught. They have been caught, folks. In front of you, they have been caught. Your platitudes, Bruce Golding and Gannett Newspapers, are patently paid political announcements. You, Bruce Golding, the hero of helping Glendora defrock John P. de Blasio and his psychotic law clerk Schwersky, cast down rank, office, and estimation, debasing and degrading your own person with open and shameless disregard of decency. You and your hackneyed colleagues write only what the big corporations command you write, and never the truth. They forbid you write the truth. Like Callagy, you are another liar for hire. You are insensible to reproof. You are a sold soul. Your self-possession destroyed. You depart clandestinely with the truth, but you were caught on www.achatwithglendora.com and www.youtube.com/achatwithglendora, one word. And you were caught on 53 TV stations. You and Mitch Brody are rubber stamps of utter laxity of morals. Like Robert M. Callagy. You do exactly what international bankers Rothschild, and I just listed them to you, want you to do. Glendora is bringing Satterley to trial. The date has been set. The gravamen is their ignorance of the law, their lying, their cheating. They're grubbling for $5,000. Their malfeasance, their nonfeasance, their bad faith. Callagy, in his last 1.5 years, caused a default judgment. Now how is that for a model lawyer? Quote, unquote. He lost big time to, quote, professional pro se, unquote. Alas, poor York. Here lies Robert Callagy. Callagy never declared anything under penalty of perjury. He knew he was lying. He never declared he was telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. so help him God. He was indeed the model lawyer. Everything Caligari wrote was hearsay. He was not there when it happened. He was blister. He showed up after the work was done. Gannett's total failure to acknowledging the jet aerosol chemtrails of poisons in the sky is gossamer. It is odious, is disgusting, abhorrent, and is disregard of your raison d'etre, your reason for being, is to tell the truth to people. But you will not touch the truth about the chemtrails, the poison in the sky, the ethylene dibromide, the barium, the aluminum. Folks, that your children are breathing. You cover up for the international bankers, and it is gossamer. The next is reserved. I'll show you, reserved. And there's the page for it. Under penalty of perjury, Glendora asseverates with alacrity that she had told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help her God. And always has on these matters. Robert M. Caligari never has. It was dated December the 26th, 2006, Anno Domini, State of New York, County of Columbia. Yours in truth, in amor patriae, love of one's country, and amor New Yorki, love of New York. Without prejudice, Uniform Commercial Code, Article 1, Section 207. Glendora, a chat with Glendora on 53 TV stations and 530 municipalities, including Washington, D.C., and the nation's capital, and New York State capital, Albany. Leave people to be perfect, stop cruelty to animals, stop the injustice in the courts, and sue judges when they break the law. And we close with this prayer. First of all, this is a copy of the obituary, as so-called, as it appeared in the New York Law Journal, Another Liar for Hire. And the hymn that we close with, or the prayer, is Abide with Me. Well, we started this at 9 o'clock, I believe, or 10 o'clock, was it? And I think it's 11:20. Yeah, that's about right. It took an hour of mini DV. What's your joy for 11:15? How about your life? You're alive. How about for 11 o'clock? A new year. How about for 10:45? The goodness in the world that always wins. How about 10:30? This beautiful earth that God gives you free. Do you realize that you spend money on the bad stuff and the good stuff is free? 10:15. How about colors? God is so great for colors. That's the part of the electromagnetic spectrum that we can detect. And how about for 10 o'clock to rejoice that we've been given such great detectors. Can you imagine that? We have eyes that can detect the slightest change in frequency and wavelength. So we caught up with all of our rejoices for every 15 minutes. And now we'll close the Caligari obituary with this hymn to him, similar to all the other hymns I have sent in legal papers, and to courts, and to judges, and to Caligari. Abide with me. Fast falls the evening tide. The darkness deepens. Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, Lord, abide with me.
Eternal ages let his praises ring. Glory in the highest I will shout and sing. Standing on the promises of God. Standing on the promises of God, my Savior.
Standing on the promises of God. Now, folks, I want you to have the joy of Jack and Margie Flynn, who are champions of the Constitution and who stand up boldly to judges who are not. And most of the judges today, in fact all that I've ever met, well, wait a second, a few exceptions, a few reservations, are not champions of the Constitution. And I want you to see their telephone number, and I want you to know them. They are both Easterners who have landed up in Las Vegas. No, don't say that. But they ran out of money and couldn't get out. No. But I want you to hear what they have to say. First point. Citizens of the American Constitution. That's their name. And their website is www.citizensoftheamericanconstitution.org. All one word. Citizens of the American Constitution challenges unconstitutional, unlawful, and unauthorized government. How do you like that? And unconstitutional court. Now, they use constitutional-based procedures. Is there something wrong with that, courts? Have you ever heard of that? More specifically, outlined in the case, I would think it would be Metri, it's spelled M-E-T-R-I-S, okay, Metris, versus Edwards. The challenges are done in 3 different successive methods. And let us list them. Government, the courts, and corporate America have proven and established and demonstrated their actions not to serve the interests of the people and not to serve constitutional requirements. This is Jack and Margie Flynn. And this is done to serve their own interests at a vast cost to you. They're rich, but where's the money really coming from? It's coming from you. Oaths mean little, if anything, to public officers. These public officers perjure their oaths at will. Our enemies will not abide by the Constitution, and they will not abide by lawful requirements until we, the people, require it. So start requiring it. I will read you parts of this on a chat with Glendora from time to time. As constitutionalists, Marg and Jake Flynn do not consider constitutional oaths taken by public servants to be formalities, but they are a sacred bond given to exchange for the public trust. You're the public. You have trusted these people. We fully expect that all oaths taken by public servants in the federal and state constitutions, we fully expect that these be abided by those public servants in their performances of their official duty. We expect that. We demand that. Stop being a patsy. Go out there and demand that. You have them. The challenges are intended for this purpose. The challenges are intended for the rights of the American people. And these rights are to be upheld by those governments and those courts. Those governments and those courts sworn to serve the people. The methods follow. When we meet again, I'll read you some of those methods. Things that you can do to make sure that these punks who take an oath adhere to it. Here's some jokes. Little girl wrote on her school paper that toadstools grow in damp places, and that is why they are shaped like umbrellas. Give an example of out of bounds, the teacher said. Out of bounds. The boy said, out of bounds. An exhausted kangaroo. What is an octopus? The teacher asked. Student, an 8-sided cat. Daddy, can I join the army? Of course not. You're only an infant. I could join the infantry. Mommy, you remember that vase that's been handed down from generation to generation? Yes, Mommy said. Well, this generation just dropped it. Bill's wife calls the stew that Bill makes, he makes a stew. She calls it his enthusiasm stew. He puts everything he has into it. The little girl says to the priest, "This catechism is too hard. What I need is a kiddie-kism." "Mummy, am I made of sage and parsley and breadcrumbs?" "Oh, what gave you that idea?" "Billy said he was going to beat the stuffing out of me." "Johnny, are you all packed for vacation?" "Yep." "Are you sure?" "Yep." "Did you put in your soap?" "Soap? You said this was a vacation." "Would you like to see," the grandmother said to the little grandchild, "would you like to see the cuckoo come out of the cuckoo clock?" "Yes, please. And I'd like to see grandfather come out of the grandfather clock." Charlie says that his little brother's only a year and a half old, and yet he's been walking for 9 months. And Charlie's little buddy said, "Walking for 9 months, he must be pretty tired." Pauline said when she was a young girl, she had plenty of men at her feet and her husband's chest. They were all podiatrists. "Is that your brother?" "Yeah." "He's kind of small, isn't he?" "Oh, that's because he's my half-brother." "Mommy, is it true that we come from dust and we return to dust?" "Yes." "Then how come when I go swimming, I don't get muddy?" "That's a very nice picture you drew of the Nativity. There's baby Jesus, there's Joseph, and there's Mary. What's this little box down here in the corner?" "Oh, that's their TV set. This is Glendora, Cheerful Look at Life, brought to you by nobody." We're going through your portfolio here, things you haven't been reported to for a long time. This is a very nice letter from Mary Ramage. She's a good writer. And she says, "I'm very sorry that Celia took your program off the air. I was looking for the program while I was crocheting. A white blanket and a baby set, and I don't know how she does it. She comes up with the most beautiful pieces. And how does she do it? She does it just with her fingers tying string. I think it's so wonderful. She says she's so sorry because it's the cat she looks at. That's .com. She always wants to know what .com is doing. .com right now is on the stack, Mary, of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes. She's on the top of that. Love, Mary. This is the picture of my pastor, the Reverend Nathan Meldrum, and little Andrew and wife Kristen. I want to say hello to Bill Braley in Washington, D.C. he's a good fan, and he appreciates the information that comes from a chat with Glendora, how America has been robbed by a bunch of gangsters. Robbed of it. I'd like to say hello to Drew, who lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and was in DC TV and saw a chat with Glendora, and he and others are touring the country in a play, a musical called Aida. And they call me up from Syracuse, and they call me up from Pennsylvania, and I think that's very, very interesting. So hello to two DC TV fans, Drew Simpson and Phil Braley. I forgot to tell you, and I don't know how I did that, because it certainly is an important point, that Robert Callaghan cost Glendora, well actually it's Franklin, $42,000, print, post, travel, court fees, stenographer's fees, which is not robbery, over 3,000 hours, 28,000 pages of setting the lie straight, setting the record straight, 96 volumes, and 18 file drawers. And that we have a record of over 3,000 lies by Robert Callaghan, Cablevision, Charles Dolan, James Dolan, and all the hoods they hired to lie for them. And that the fight with Cablevision has gone on, or standing up for public access rights, keeping Cablevision from stealing public access rights. This fight has gone on for 13 years. It started on Armistice Day, or Veterans Day, of the year 1993. And this is the year 2006. So actually it's 13 years and 2 months. And there have been something like 300 mailings. Holding you with the unseen hand. And I hope that that happens to you. Partnership Day for me was Valentine's Day on February the 14th in the year 2004. We're on reserve as to the appellate term, Supreme Court, State of New York, awaiting decisions on Glendora versus Eacock and Glendora versus Cecilia Masterilli. We have written our response to their decision on Glendora versus Charles F. Dolan, James L. Dolan, Cablevision, Thomas Geiger, Mac Budil, Peggy Anderson, Charles Former, Christine Savarino, Cecilia Masterilli, Robert Callaghan, sadly Stevens Burke and Burke, and Patricia Langelotti. In the Harrison Court, we have written that paper. We are holding it until we see what else happens. The unseen hand. I'm just just going through the portfolio here for you. There's a very nice prayer that was put onto a legal paper to try to reform these people and get them to atone and make good and have happiness. What program are we on now? Somewhere around 4,510. No, 4,508, which is a 10th edition for this period. This is so funny. This was on a calendar, the Eagles. They look exactly like the appellate term -1. And that -1 would be Angelillo, who went up to the appellate division. I don't know why people want these jobs. Okay, that doesn't particularly excite you. What is here? List of prices for meat analogs. Oh yeah, did I ever show you this? These are these meat analogs, vegetarian meat. Hot dogs, chili, chocolates, dinner cuts, fried chick, linkettes, prime steaks, saucettes, savory dinner scallops, Swiss steaks. These are all vegetarian now and made from soy. Dinner loaf, bologna, chicken nuggets, weenies, fry pats, salami, sliced chicken, smoked turkey, and lamb. And these are various gravies, but they're all vegetarian. So, don't worry about becoming a vegetarian. Your meat is much more delicious. And no cholesterol. I want to thank Great Net so much for sending me tapes that people didn't pick up. That was so nice of you, Shirley Bruno, Sandy Ferguson. A man called me up who works from the UN. He works for the UN, and he wanted to come up. I invited him up and his wife and his daughter to have dinner. And he likes the program. He's liked it for a long time. And finally, you know, people do that. They watch the program for 3 or 4 years, and then they decide to call up. And anyway, he works for the UN. And he couldn't come up because the UN on December 27th, 2 days after Christmas, sent him to East Timor. So what are they fighting about in East Timor? The usual. Oil and gas. The Indonesians say they own it. The Dutch say they own it. The Portuguese say they own it. So, that's too bad. He'll be gone a long time. He's over there trying to straighten that out for the UN. This is the Little Falls School of Music. And this looks like a legal paper. Glendora Memorandum to Charles D. Wood as to Sarok's latest desperation to grab $5,000. I have Cablevision, or Christine Savarino, in the Yonkers City Court. I have sued Christine Savarino for $5,000 for the damages that she has cost me chasing away my signers. You know, I go out and I meet a signer, and it costs me money to go there. It's all about that. It costs me money to go there. And I meet the nice people and they sign for my show, and then Christine Savarino calls up and scares them and says bad things to them that are not true. And then the signer gets scared and runs away. And so it costs money to go out and get a new signer. And I sued her for the money that it cost. This is about the last thing I'm going to discuss with you. This is a case of a fellow named Marg Gatz, G-A-T-Z, and he lives in Quogue, in the Hamptons, on the eastern end of Long Island, where Susan Lee White also lives. And he claims an injustice and a cheat and a steal by Otis Ford. And he claims, which I can very easily and quickly believe, that Mr. Otis has very secure political ties in that small community. I'd like to hear your side, Mr. Otis. There's my number on the screen. And if you would like to speak up about this, I would be very willing to hear. Okie doke. Unless you can think of anything, I believe that's all of the fights for rights that have come up in the past 2 weeks. The last time we videotaped and made titles and made dubs. What was it, 150 of them? And we mailed out 3 programs to each of the TV stations. The last time we did that was the second week of December. This is the last week of December. And I think this is all of the fights for rights that I've heard of in this past 2 weeks. So I'll see you again. And what am I going to leave with you? That yes, you're very firm, and yes, you stand up for America, and yes, you stand up for God, and yes, you stand up for rights. You're very, very firm about that. But the underneath foundation is your love, your oneness, your greatness, your goodness, your success through your partnership with God. First thing every morning, your alone time with God. Second thing is every 15 minutes rejoice. $11:45. Let us rejoice for music. There's something about God and the music that's inside of you. At noon, on here, the next last day of the great year 2006, we rejoice about humor. There's something very, very God-like in humor. Why do we laugh? Why do we laugh? So, close with, again, 1 Corinthians 11:13. And now abide faith, hope, and love. These three, the greatest of these three is love. Isn't it?
So I'm hoping for a complete recovery. I pray for that woman. I send her pulses of the strength of grace.
That's right.
Yeah, and
a good client of hers.
and just heal that, and she'll never. And of course, all present blessings continue. You don't pray for anything new unless you ask for all the other blessings to continue, Percy.
Correct.
Yeah, you could lose one for another, you know. Okay, honey.
All right.
Yeah.
You take care, Glendora.
I thank you very much.
If I don't talk to you, have a happy Turkey Day.
Oh, I would never kill a turkey, honey. I'm a vegetarian.
Have a happy broccoli day.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
And dressing.
Exactly.
And squash and onions.
I like onions.
And pumpkin pie and mince pie.
That's right.
But I would never kill an animal to eat. Percy, on Thanksgiving Day 2 years ago, I had 7 live turkeys crossing my field.
Really?
Yeah. They knew where to come. They knew where to come. Take care, Percy.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It's done, folks. Or that is, it's written, and it's printed, and it's collated, and it's stapled, and it's labeled. Here it all is. 96 hours and 138 pages. 2 sets. The Glenn gets the paste up. Judge Wood gets 1 set, and Evil Sarok, for whom I'm praying, gets the 2nd set. Now I have until my neighbor comes at 2 p.m. to take me to the post office to serve this and to do the laundry. I have exactly 40 minutes. You think I'll make it? 20? Yeah, 40 minutes. A man went to Atlantic City and he vowed that he would not bet any money. He would only bet mentally. He would watch the wheel go round and round and he would bet only mentally. And sure enough, he lost his mind. Rainy all day on November 8th, 2006, Wednesday. And the blue jay came to the stoop and ate the crumbs of .com's vegetarian food. And I also put out crackers which the blue jay ate and tried to keep him from getting soggy with the rain. We thank you, God, for the afflatus. It must be your best one yet. Amen. I'll read it to you folks when we get the job consummated of serving it, postmarked November 8th, 2006, Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. Let's go serve it. Let's go serve it. There it is. This poor tree lost another branch. Look at all that hard work that God does to make a tree. Look at all that wood. So another branch fell off, and it was in the middle of the road, and good citizen Daniel stopped. Actually, he went by, and then he backed up and he came and he moved these two great big pieces, so he's a good citizen. And then I got out a shovel and pushed what I could of the debris over there, and now the road is passable. And I didn't show it to you, I didn't videotape it for you.
Absolutely right. Now we're in bad state. We have a media. Tom Jefferson told us free press is what makes people free, and we don't have it. No, it's all controlled. Right. It's a handful of people who own it and run it for their own benefit. You're going to hear what they want you to hear, and you're not going to hear what they don't want you to hear. Public access, and in particular on Glendora. Who says what he thinks and believes. Well, I almost believe that public access is the last free press we have. Oh, close to it. I mean,